Hi everyone, this is BRANDSWAMY, your transformation consultant specialized in marketing. Good evening, this is the first edition of the live session by BRANDSWAMY. And today we are discussing one of the key principles of 595, or we call it 95.5, whichever way you want to call it, 595 or 95.5, whatever it is. So today this principle is primarily applicable to every business, be it a B2B business, be it a B2C business, though it's primarily discussed as a B2B marketing strategy. So today we are trying to understand it in a very, very common format. Instead of discussing very largely on the the principle side, we are trying to look at the practical aspects of how do we use it in real life, go-to-market scenario. So I'm sharing my screen. Just give me a second. Yeah. So this you can see my screen, I hope. Yeah. So if we look at this rule is uh, actually started by John Devers, and this this principle is talking about how marketing should be used. So we are living in a very now obvious kind of a situation where we always want to get leads. We want to use the lead today now. So we are always looking at what people are doing now. Okay, but the reality is that 90% of our people, our customers, are not in the market now. 90% of them are out of market. So this is what is this rule simply saying. If you look at 90% of the customers are not ready to buy it now. That's simple letter. So we are not buying it now. They want to buy it in future. For example, if you are an ERP software company, you want to sell it to a mid-sized companies in your market, and 90% of them have maybe already using one of the software, but maybe they are upgrading in maybe 5 to 6 years. Or if you are using something that if you're a furniture company, for example, your customer is now using a maybe a dining table. Maybe they will be looking for another upgrade maybe after 5 years. So 95% of the customers are not in market now. They are actually planning something, or they are in a kind of a silent mode. But they are your customer. And almost 90% of your business are looking at this 5% customers who is now in the market. And all the companies are behind this 5%. This is something called the now obsession. But this what happened here is that you try to build your leads, capture leads, nurture it, and try to sell to them. But you look at the larger side, the larger portion of your customer, that is 95% of the customers. They are now in a silent mode. And how do you tackle them? And how do you look at that kind of an audience who will be buying your product maybe in another 2 to 3 years? Or maybe buying maybe after 2 3 months based on the product, if it is not an FMCG product in that case. And this is applicable to almost every business other than the FMCG products. So, and 90% of what we are selling, if I'm sure that any of you listening to me is not from majority of you from may not be from the FMCG product category. So this now obsession is killing or losing a lot of money for you. This is very important. And you look at, you always do sales. 90% of your efforts are on sales, not in marketing. Whereas and sales are, what is the difference between sales and marketing? Sales is what you do for now. You get a lead, you convert it, you make the money today. But 90% of your customers who will see your ad is not in a buying mode. So how do you utilize it? Instead of using a 95% as sales tactics, use 95% of marketing and 5% as sales. This will give you a very high return on a longer period. This is very critical to our marketing strategy. So I'm here talking to you and telling you 5 simple methods by which you can really utilize this 595 methods. So one is balance your marketing investment. When you invest in a market, you should not look at the now buying customer. That is a 5%. Instead, you should focus on your 95%, the larger portion of the market. So here, you look at the brand marketing strategies. Instead of selling your product, instead of trying to sell it to your customers, try to market your product, your brand. What is the difference between sales and marketing? And how do you invest on this particular two categories? So brand marketing and nurture the leads. This is demand capture. These are two different segments. When you spend your money, at least 70%, 60 to 70% of the money you should spend on branding your marketing your brand, other than demand capture. So you don't want to look at demand capture as your primary objective of your campaigns. Instead, you should focus on selling your brand. So usually in the industry we do 80-20. 80% of the money goes to selling and 20% is to the marketing. But when you plan a product, when you have a strategy, you should look at spending maybe in 70-30. 70% of your B2B business should be money should be spent on marketing instead of looking at it and demand capturing. So this is a one area you should be careful. And the second part is how do you nurture your future buyers? Future buyers are very important. When I'm talking about the future buyers are this 95% also. Who will be going to buying your product maybe in 6 months time, maybe in 1 year time. So how do you do that? There, when someone buys your product, he will be referring to 15 to maybe 16 touch points. This is very critical. When you focus only on Meta, when you focus only on Google, you are losing other touch points. So it is very critical to plan your marketing to fill content for all this 15 to 16 touch points where your customer will come at some point of their purchase circle to decide whether they should go with this product or that. So that is very critical to your marketing plan. So you should be bringing out events to capture this future audience. You should be having your webinars, you should be having your newsletters published, you should be having your industry insight, you should be having your industry analysis, you should be having your regular meetup with the influential people in the market. So this all comes in this. Obviously your website, your Google, your SEOs, your metas are important. But if you are not doing this regular exercise of touching them back and again on a frequent basis, for example, if you have a newsletter, bi-weekly newsletter, and you are reaching them every bi-weekly, then automatically your top of the mind recall will be very high. And at some point of time, maybe after 2 years, when they really want to purchase something that is from your industry, they will be remembering your product. So this is very critical to your marketing plan. And you have to adjust your KPIs based on this principle. Why do you want to plan? So we will take one simple case study of a furniture company, for example. I'll take two examples of a furniture company that is predominantly a B2C company, and we will take an example of a ERP software, for example, that is purely a B2B business, B2B business in that case. So I'm taking a ERP company and a furniture company as examples. So first we see the furniture company. There's a case study where one of your customer is coming to you at some point of time. He is looking at your product. He comes to your showroom or your website. He sees your product and then he takes a list of it. Then he understands your product. Finally, he didn't take it up. He went to another customer and to another showroom and he decided to go with this competitor. It's okay. He came here. What happens maybe after a month, after the entire purchase, after his housewarming, there is a chance that he may be feeling something missing in house. He may be going for another round of purchase. So there is always a chance that he will come back. But when we do a kind of a sales call, obviously, it will not give that feel good. Whereas suppose you have a newsletter that is coming, that's going to every customer maybe once in 2 months, and you are reaching this customer with new updates of your product. And this newsletter will obviously give them an idea. Okay, this guy is upgraded, and this is exactly what I was looking for to satisfy my living room, to give a makeover to my living room. Or after 1 year or 1.5 years, he want to do an upgrade to his bedroom. Then that time one of his newsletter is coming, going back to him again. Or you are inviting him for a customer meet or an furniture art exhibition, for example. Then he will be remembering you again. Then there is a high chance that he will refer you again. So when you look at your sales, calling them, you are not updating them on your product, you are not updating your growth. And suppose he is knowing about you every once and again. And suppose after maybe 3 years or 4 years, he is doing a complete, he is going to start something new, a new house or a new office. Then obviously by the time you should have built a kind of top of the mind recall with him. Then he will obviously come back to you. So this is something that you should be touching him with your marketing content than a sales content. So whenever you add a database, for example, you run a digital lead generation campaign today, and as we all know, maybe a conversion of less than 5%. You get 5% customers get converted, but 95% of your customers are not get converted at that point of time. But what do you do to touch them? If you want to touch them through WhatsApp, do that regularly. If you want to do something else to meet them, do that regularly. That automatically gives them kind of an idea and reconnect with you. So whenever you nurture, whenever you get a lead, whenever you get a customer information, it is very important to connect them with again and again and build them as a customer and keep engaging them with your marketing plan, not with your sales plan. So this is very critical. Suppose if you are doing an ERP business, you are into ERP business is it's more difficult to, this is more easily applicable. I'll tell you this example. I have an ERP I'm currently using. Suppose I'm using Microsoft, for example. So, but when I'm using Microsoft 365 Office or something, then later at some point of time, I realize that I want to have a CRM upgrade, or I am upgrading to something that is more, more fits to my business. And I have taken your quote 3 years back, but I don't ever connect with you, and you never know what time I will be doing it. It is very difficult for an ERP company to come to know who is doing what. And when my CEO is taking a decision that, okay, or my board is taking a decision that I'm going to do an upgrade in my ERP, then automatically I will tell my procurement team or a marketing team or technology team, give suggestions of companies that giving this kind of a solution. Then this guy sitting in the technology company, heading the technology division of my company, will look at, okay, who are the companies? He will usually use one Google search. He will obviously do some peer-to-peer, understanding. He will call some of his friends to understand. He will use his top of the mind recall, and he will obviously try to find out which are the companies. But you look at a situation where you test this company 6 months back, but after that there is no connect with him. What, 6 months back you tried to call him, you called him, you met him, but you didn't touch him after that 6 months. But all of a sudden a requirement came in. This guy forgot you. There is no point, all your sales effort, all your effort to go and meet him, to give a presentation, all went in vain. So what happens here, you have to keep a regular habit of touching this guy. So the entire effort of your sales team and marketing team should be in a 5:95 ratio. Where when you do 5 things to do sales, you should do 95 things to do, teach them, educate them, give them advocacy, and you should keep on touching him, by which you can actually cover this 15 to 16 touch points where your customer will come at some point where he wants to purchase. So, for example, this ERP company is having a conclave every 3 months, a very small conclave. I'm not talking about a big, 15 lakhs or maybe 1 crore event. I'm talking about maybe he is spending 30,000 rupees to do a good event, inviting people and maybe a 20-30 people event and bringing up one good speaker. And maybe only 20 people are coming to the event, but you are inviting maybe 100 people, maybe a 200 people out of the customer base that you are looking at. And also you can invite people in this technology companies where one of this key speaker will be from a technology company, which is also your target customer. And what is the advantage is that this, when he comes as a speaker, he will post your brand in his social media pages, maybe in his LinkedIn. Automatically his peers in other companies will see your brand, automatically they will recall you. So you have to keep a habit of making your brand reach to your target audience, even though they are not purchasing now. So if you can set up a marketing metrics that is meeting this 595 rule, you can you can easily keep in touch with them every points, every touch points, and you can build your connect with these people. And obviously you can do a wonderful marketing, and whenever they want something, they are in a position to purchase something, they will be looking at, and they will be coming to you. And there is a high chance that they will purchase your product. So keeping this connect with your audience is critical to a marketing. And that is why this 515 rule is very interesting in terms of making your customer connected with you. So that's something, that is something critical. I believe that this is first live session that I'm doing. In the future we will be looking at explaining such things more effectively. And whenever if someone is really like to have a plan for you, as per as I declared earlier, if you really love to have a 595 principle based marketing plan for a month or a year, we would really love to help you. And in case if you need that kind of a consulting support from us, please do chat with us now in our comment box or chat box. We will come back to you, we will take a brief from you, and we will help you set up a marketing plan that works in this based on this principle. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will come up with more such topics in the future. Thank you so much.